Welcome to Dev Talkies. This is Kiran from Ep.8 Developer Relations. What's happening?
He's finally out of the way. And that's how you do magic. And you know what else is magical? The experience that Salesforce has been delivering to its customers and developers for the past 20 years through its great platform and a flagship annual marketing conference, the Dreamforce. Did you know Dreamforce this year was a hybrid experience? Millions of Trailblazers from around the world safely met in person and in a new digital way, making Dreamforce more inclusive and accessible than ever before. Dreamforce is truly a platform for change and innovation. Over the course of this episode, we're going to talk more about Dreamforce and its highlights. So let's ride the wave together. Salesforce is a trusted enterprise built by Trailblazers. Let's now interview one such Trailblazer who has done wonders in her career. From biotechnology to computer technology, from DNA to code, she is truly inspirational, very passionate. If you're wondering who she is Sudha Sundaram. Let's welcome her. Hey Sudha.
Hey Nitisha, how are you doing? Thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, thank you for being here, and it's our pleasure. We're doing great, and how about you?
Yeah, doing awesome. I mean, Dev Talkies is my favorite show, and I'm here, so I'm like super excited.
Oh, we as well, yay! Okay, you know what, Sudha, we both are so much alike, I feel, because see, I came from a biotechnology background and I'm here at Salesforce, which is obviously a tech company. So I want to know all about how you came from biotechnology to computers.
Well, I was this passionate girl back then about biotechnology that I decided when I was in high school that I would not go to my med school. I would just go and pursue my education in biotechnology. And I wanted to land in oncology research. So I was like that specific back then. And I'm still passionate about biotechnology. I can talk to you for hours on that. And
Yeah, me
due to
too.
some, yeah, it's such a beautiful subject, right?
Right.
And due to some personal reasons, I couldn't pursue my master's in biotechnology in the US. And I had this opportunity in hand. I had this campus placement with one of the first companies that came for our campus recruitment, Wipro Technologies. And yeah, so I was thoroughly surprised, first of all, how they picked me. I think probably you can relate to me on this because we have no computer science background, completely from a different side of the world, but
Right.
still there presenting ourselves in an IT interview.
Yes.
Yeah, so that happened and I had this opportunity, so I just took that up. And when I started getting into my first initial few weeks at Wipro and the trainings was happening, and it was kind of a little bit disappointing, I should say, simply because they were talking to me about HTML, JavaScript, and all the different things in the technology. And they were all pouncing on my head because I had no clue what they were talking to me about. I had no
I
background in computer
know,
science.
right? Like you looking into the microscope towards the DNA versus, you having to write code on the computer, totally different. I can totally
Exactly. I
understand.
mean, IT and gene therapy are not at all related, at least in a
Right.
real sense. So, yeah. And then this happened, and I was feeling a little bit frustrated. And I was thinking, like, did I make a wrong decision of landing in the IT job? Then I thought there should be some way out. This is such a vast area. There should be some place which could become a sweet spot for me. And my parents were the ones who came into my mind then because they are my role model and my big time inspiration. If one thing I have learned from their life, they always don't give up and they stay positive through very tough situations. And my dad's advice has always been like, for every problem there is 1 crore solution. You just have to find that one solution which will make your problem go away. And then
Persistence.
Yeah, and then this advice was more apt for me in that situation, and I thought like I need to figure that way out. And then I started doing a little bit of research to find out where in IT can I stay safe and then be passionate and then still do what I like, right? So that's when I realized there was something called as business analyst role, and business analysis as something, the skill sets were kind of similar to what we have in like biotechnology, the research analysis kind of things, though it's like totally different subjects. But still I felt I had the skill set, and probably that could be a place where I could explore and get started. So I was this bold girl way back then. I just walked into my manager's room like third week in the company, and then I tell him like, you know what, I don't think I'll be a good coder any day. I don't think I'm going to excel in that field. It's totally not my passion, but I think I'm going to make a great business analyst if you give me that opportunity. And really, he trusted me that day, and he gave me the opportunity. If he had not given me that opportunity that day, or had I not asked him, I wouldn't be in IT space today. So that's the time when my actual IT career started. And then I was initially in Siebel CRM, and Salesforce was already shining bright way back then with Salesforce Classic and S Controls, and it really sounds like a long time back. And and then I started my Salesforce journey with my first client, who was a large telecommunication giant in the US. And then there has been no looking back. I absolutely love it here.
Amazing, amazing. That is one inspirational story. All right. So, talking of which, you not only just learned Salesforce, but I heard you have a passion for mentoring, teaching, and we want to know all about your passion towards mentorship.
Yeah, I think that also started way back when I was in college. I was tutoring high school kids, and I realized one thing that, when I customize the way that I teach, like relating it to a favorite sport they liked or a movie, and then I was trying to teach them the concepts, relate to it better, they seemed more interested, and they were able to ramp up pretty quickly. And then that gave me this moment like, aha, I can do this. I'm able to do this, better way by customizing the way of teaching, and it's creating an impact. Probably when I keep growing up, I should pick up mentoring, and I should start mentoring, because I think it comes in naturally to me that, I can customize things and talk to different people in different terms. So that's how it got linked, and, my passion for mentorship also started.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Awesome. So, one other question I want to ask you, right? I heard that you got stuck in India for 2 years because of the pandemic situation, and the pandemic has changed all of our lives, and it was hard on all of us. So, but then you used this time for doing something good. How did you do that?
Yeah, so like you said, pandemic has affected a lot of people's life. It did have impact on ours too. So we were in the US, and we had to come to India for some of our visa processing, and then it was right before the COVID time, a week before that, and then the COVID breakout happened, and we pretty much got stuck there for almost 2 years. I was on a career break. I wasn't sure if I have to start immediately because I was planning to move back again. So so that just happened, and I had two choices in front of me. Either I sit in the corner of my room, I get very disappointed and worry and about
Changed all of our lives, and it was hard on all of us. So, but then you used this time for doing something good. How did you do that?
Yeah, so like you said, pandemic has affected a lot of people's life. It did have impact on ours too. So we were in the US, and we had to come to India for some of our visa processing, and then it was right before the COVID time, a week before that, and then the COVID breakout happened, and we pretty much got stuck there for almost 2 years. I was on a career break. I wasn't sure if I have to start immediately because I was planning to move back again. So so that just happened, and I had two choices in front of me. Either I sit in the corner of my room, I get very disappointed and worry and crib about, okay, this has happened to me, I have a break, I really can't deal with it. Or I had another option which I kind of inclined towards, where why don't I convert this particular time that I have in hand into an opportunity to learn, to skill up, and to see how I can be with the Trailblazer community, how I can give back. So that's when I started doing things a little differently. So I almost gained like 9 certifications during my career break. I got my 2x Ranger status. Yeah, it's amazing, because when you're usually working, you never find time to constantly keep learning and skilling up, and I really utilize this time for that. And and then I could get my 2x Ranger status, and I really want to grab every single badges in Trailhead. That's in my bucket list. And then I also started doing sessions at different community groups. So I started doing sessions at Apex Hours. We did like a 22-part video series for very extensive CPQ specialist kind of certification model, where we were talking through different complex CPQ subjects. Again, my passion for mentoring and customizing topics towards the audience kicked in right there. And it's overwhelming to know that almost 100 Trailblazers have got themselves certified looking at our videos and understanding concepts through that.
Wow.
And
100.
then I also did this cute little thing I call like when Salesforce met Agile. It's like those match made in the clouds, like,
Yes, it is. Definitely.
Yeah, it's like Agile and Salesforce are like that. They have to be a happy married couple for implementations to work. So I kind of started doing this series across various community groups, like in India, in US, Albania Dreaming, Pakistan Dreaming, and almost like 700 Trailblazers attended all these sessions. And it was so fulfilling to know that all this was creating impact. Then I also started mentoring at the same time. So I was mentoring students, I was mentoring women on career break, men on career break, anyone who needed assistance. It could be emotionally, it could be trying to understand, how do I get back after a career break? How do I present myself for an interview? I thought I was definitely in that spot where I could have my own experience and use that experience to mentor others as well. So yeah,
Definitely.
all these different things happened during my career break.
Amazing. So you've used your time to the fullest, and not just that. How did you feel doing all this, Sudha?
Nitisha, is really, really fulfilling, I have to say, because I don't have any other words, because end of the day, my heart is so full that I'm able to, even if I'm able to create an impact on one person, I feel like my heart is really, really full, and it makes my day. So it means a lot to me that I'm able to do it. I really feel blessed and humbled to keep doing what I'm doing.
This emotion is pure. So yeah, I can tell how passionate you are about Salesforce, about what you do. Sudha, I heard you do a lot of blogs. And so many people who are watching this show would want to know more about that. So can you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. So again, right, the powerhouse of Salesforce community is Trailblazer community. It's given so much to us, and it was for our time to give back more. And again, the career break was a very apt time for me to contribute more as well. So my powerhouse, who is my husband, who has been my immense strength through all these times, he and I decided we'll do another cute little thing, which is Salesforce Couple, a place where we started
so
kind
cute.
of writing blogs, and yeah, I mean that's how Salesforce Couple happened. Oh,
Is somebody talking about me? Hey Nitisha, how are you doing?
Hey Prashant, how are you? It's amazing to see you here. You were there all along. Oh my God.
Yes. No, delighted to
That's
be here.
such
So
a
nice to
cute
see you,
thing.
Nitisha.
Thanks a lot for being here, Prashant. And that's such a cute thing, and so nice that you both work together. And it's the name, right? Salesforce Couple. Oh, wow, that's amazing. So, can you
Yes,
tell us a little bit about that, Prashant?
Oh, absolutely. Would love to. So, I think it was a natural result. We both have been in the Salesforce ecosystem for a very long time. We've been mentoring, training, giving back to the community, and also getting so much. So, while we were doing this, we thought, okay, why not pool our resources together, right? So, while we do our sessions in various streamings and various community groups, we built a website, salesforcecouple.com. We launched it beginning of this year. And that's where we pool our thoughts together. So we have our blogs, we have aspects about learning Salesforce, We have aspects about agile. We have aspects about thought leadership and things you can do and learn in the industry. Basically giving guidance and inputs to anyone who's there trying to get inputs on Salesforce. What we also thought as part of this was to make it a little more immersive, right? So what we did was we created some business scenarios. So for example, in the CPQ space where we both did the training series, we added some business snippets or scenarios which you typically encounter on our website. And what readers can do is actually they look at the scenario and try to figure out, okay, how would we solve this? And then we have a link where you have an option of going and seeing what the optimal technical solution is. So it's not just
they
about
can relate
reading.
to it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And also it's an immersive learning experience, right? You think about it, try to solve it and look at the solution. We also have quizzes, but we thought we want to make it a little more creative and try to give back as much as we can. So in our sense, while we are going and doing a lot of sessions across different places, mentoring people, for us, Salesforce couple is we bring it together. We call it our home in the clouds. So we welcome everybody to come in, really learn what you can, share, give feedback, and we've got tons of amazing response. So we love it.
That's super duper amazing. And you know what? This is impact 2x, right? Both of you doing it together, and the cute little name that you have, Salesforce couple. I'm super thrilled. This is really amazing. And Prashant, thanks for the little surprise that you've just thrown on us. And it is really amazing for to have you here.
Very happy.
Thanks a lot again, guys. Really amazing to have you all on this show. And what's that one thing you want to tell our trailblazers?
From me, I would say never stop learning, never stop sharing, spread love. We all need that more than ever, and then be kind.
Yeah.
Very, very important. I think to add, what I would say is, especially for those who are starting out in their career, there's so much to do. There's a vast space out there. Focus on your core areas of strength, what you like most. Build your foundations very strong. And as you grow, keep giving. As you help others, as you learn together, it's a journey best sort of taken with everyone together. And you'll really be much more enriched by it. So all the very best.
Thank you very much, both of you, and loads of love from us to you. And again, you were super duper out there. Thanks for the inspirational story, passion, and all that you do for this amazing Trailblazer community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Nitisha, for having us here. It's one of my favorite shows, and I'm super duper excited to be here, and it's pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, likewise, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate it.
I've seen a couple of posts on Stack Exchange where developers are facing problems when using Lightning Combo Box inside a Lightning data table. So I thought I'll address those issues today. First things first, even though the Lightning Combo Box component looks like a drop-down, it is built differently than the standard HTML select tag. The select element in HTML5 is an interactive content element, meaning that it requires user input and it renders above all the elements when active. Very similar to how the right-click context menu in your browser renders on top of all the elements. Lightning Combo Box, on the other hand, is a custom element. Once rendered on the browser, it's just a bunch of non-interactive HTML elements like div, span, and so on. And we make it appear over others using Z-index. But since it is just a div in the end, it can be cut off or can create a scroll bar when it overflows outside a given boundary. Now let's see how this behaves inside a data table. Here I have a data table that shows some columns, and one column has a drop-down. To render this drop-down, I have used a custom data type. And in the template file, I use the combo box base component. The first problem is nothing happens when I click on the combo box. You may feel it doesn't open, but once you inspect element, you can see that clicking on the combo box in fact expands it. The SLDS is open class is automatically added. The reason you're not able to see the options is because of this class, SLDS truncate, that has a style overflow hidden, which hides the options which are just non-interactive div and span elements. Now if I change the setting from clip text to wrap text, the drop-down now shows, as the class now changes to SLDS -8, which in fact doesn't have an overflow style. To ensure this class is present by default, all you need to do is add an attribute wrap text to the column definition and set it to true. Now comes the second problem, which is when I expand the combo box and there are a large number of elements, it adds a scroll bar to the entire data table. And it's actually most evident when you use the bottommost row. And in some cases you even see a double scroll bar, one for the table and one for the options itself. You would be tempted to fix this by overriding the overflow styles and set it to visible instead of hidden. But you can't do this using your LWC CSS file. You'll have to use a static resource which applies these styles globally. But it is not recommended also, because the overflow applies to the entire table and not just your dropdown. So it can have unintended consequences for the remaining columns. So the best option to show dropdowns in data tables is to use the standard HTML select tag instead of the lightning combo box. So I just replace this piece of code with the standard select tag and style it using SLDS so that the same look and feel is maintained. However, you need to add a little bit of JavaScript code to make sure the current value shows as the current selection in the dropdown. Once you deploy, you can see that it looks the same, but now the options are visible on top of all of your elements without the additional scroll bar.
Dreamforce was broadcast on Salesforce Plus this year, our new streaming platform for business content, something like Netflix. Did you know Salesforce Plus has been built using Lightning Web Components, native Shadow DOM, and custom properties? Lightning Web Components and other platform features are going through a lot of updates this winter 22. Who other than Satya to give you all those details? Over to you, Satya.
It's so cool here. Dreamforce is so cool and fun, just like our Winter 22 release features. In today's What's in the News, we'll see what's latest for the developers from Winter 22 release. We'll then see how uniquely our Trailblazers are sharing knowledge these days. Finally, we'll do a quick round of news items. If you are eagerly waiting to learn and use Salesforce functions just like me, then you have a good news. With Salesforce functions, your Salesforce app can now use additional programming languages and open source or third-party frameworks. It saves your development time and effort. It will become generally available soon. Look for further announcements and details on developer.salesforce.com. If you want to get started, visit the Salesforce Functions Development Center on developer.salesforce.com. Let us click this link from the release document. Here, I am in Salesforce Functions documentation. You can learn how to develop your function, deploy it, and invoke your deployed function in your sandbox or production org. If you are new to Salesforce Functions, you can start from this section, Onboard with Salesforce Functions, where you can learn fundamentals. If you already know Salesforce Functions, you can check this documentation. You can also find solutions and samples. Did I say samples? We have one more good news. Just like LWC recipes and Apex recipes, you can find Salesforce Functions recipes on developer.salesforce.com. You can go to Build, Code Samples and SDKs, and here you can find Functions recipes. If you navigate to the GitHub repository, here in README, you can find setup, deployment, and usage instructions. How do you see the structure of the Lightning Web Component? How do you know which Apex class is being used by which Lightning Web Component? Probably we refer to the code and understand that. But this release has made these things very simple. Let's check that. From setup, in the quick find box, you can search for Lightning components. Here, you can see a list of all my LWC and Aura components. Let us click on one of the LWC components. Here you can see lighting web components bundle details. If you expand it, you can see all the subcomponents. You can see the LWC dependencies, and also did you notice that you can also find the Apex classes used by this component. The dependency tree shows up to 3 levels of dependencies for a component. One of my favorite features in this release is exposing the events in the Lightning App Builder. We'll check a demo of it in the tips section. With this release, managing cookies is even better with the Lightning Web Components. We can incorporate the user authorized cookie consent into the Lightning components. Let's understand how to do that through this Learn More blog. In this Learn More blog post, Stefan has described how the LWC cookie consent module works. We must import the set cookie consent and is category allowed for current consent methods from the user consent cookie module. We can then get the current consent values by calling the is category allowed for current consent method and passing in a string for each category. The categories can be preferences, marketing, statistics, or required. When consent is changed in the UI, we can handle that change in the change consent value method by updating the cookie and passing the consent object into the set cookie consent method. This will allow us to present cookies to our users through a component. This is how the component looks like. If you missed the release readiness live, watch it on the Salesforce Developers YouTube channel to learn more. Developer tools, both CLI and Salesforce Extension Pack have weekly release cadence. Let's now see some of the latest updates in the last 4 months. Let's start with the updates to the Salesforce Extension Pack. This is a little older update, but you can find debug test code lens with Apex test methods. You can add a breakpoint or checkpoint and click debug test lens. It debugs the test method and shows the values in the left sidebar. You can now create the Apex test suite, add test to suite, and run the test suite from the command palette itself. You can now log out from the default log right from the command palette. But be cautious and never ignore this warning. Save username and password for your scratch log before you log out. Otherwise, you might lose all access to the scratch log. Now let's see some CLI updates. We already have a command force source delete with metadata flag to delete metadata files. Now you can use the test level flag to specify the level of deployment tests to run when you delete metadata source files. You can specify no test run local tests, or run all tests in org. We already have a command force user password generate to generate and set the password for one or more scratch org users. Now you can also define the level of complexity while you generate password. For instance, you can use 3 to generate passwords with lower and uppercase letters and numbers only. The Winter 22 release is packed with a lot of other features. Don't forget to check the release notes, the developer preview video on Salesforce Developers YouTube channel, blogs, and other content in our favorite developer.salesforce.com website. Let's now look into some event news. Dreamforce 2021 is over. But wait, a big event is coming up for the ANZ community. A highly technical and interactive event where you can interact with the product managers and experts. For more information, stay tuned. We'll keep posting updates on this page. It is now time for community focus. Do you remember the adage, a picture is worth 1,000 words? Raj Sneha and her husband Satish Balaji has proved it once again. They can illustrate anything in the form of pictures. Let's now see some of their work. Raj Sneha is inspired by expressing the knowledge in the form of pictures right from her childhood. She has defined a new dimension to learn Salesforce concepts. Along with her husband Satish Balaji, she created a website, rsforce.net, where you can find fun-filled illustrations of concepts in the form of blogs. Let's look into one of the blogs here. This is about Einstein Vision. This segment shows we can recognize and classify images just like dogs in dogs baskets and cats in cats baskets. We can create applications that can include features like visual search, brand detection, and product identification using instant vision. In visual search, you can find products from pictures, while you can use brand detection for brand analysis through social media images. You can use product identification to manage inventory just with pictures. This site has various other blogs. What are containers? What is Heroku, etc. Not only that, they started writing technical notes to deep dive into the concepts. Now let's hear from Rajasneha on how it all started and what inspired her to do this.
Thank you so much for featuring our work. I'm glad to take this as an opportunity to express my vision on metaphorical thinking and the impact it can have on us. Since my childhood, I relate every concept I learned with the external and real world objects. I would construct in my mind a cladogram on the subjects I study. So this helped me to remember things longer than my peers. Psychologically, we would remember things only for a shorter period of time unless we understand the system and fundamentals completely. As I grew, I taught my peers how to relate fundamentals with metaphors, which helped them to remember things longer, which means the retrieval from the memory was instantaneous. Furthermore, this enhanced the thought process. This motivated me to start the illustrated blogs with a vision to enhance the thought process of greater communities. So together we think better with metaphors, thereby building better products.
Thank you, Rajasneha. We look forward to more such easy to understand illustrations and blogs that help our trailblazers to understand the concepts easily. Let's wrap with a quick round of news items. We'll list some of the features which are generally available. We'll also see some of the features that are in beta and developer preview. Socket Builder is now generally available, and not only that, Salesforce functions are scheduled to become GA during this period. Winter 22 release includes some features in developer preview mode, which means that the feature is pretty stable, but it may change slightly. You can use it at your own risk. One of the developer preview features is Light DOM for Lighting Web Components OSS. The Light DOM enables your component markup to live outside the Shadow DOM. The other developer feature is the ability to call invocable actions from Apex. It can only be used with Scratchbox for now. One of the beta features that you love is Lighting Web Security. Lighting Web Security is a new client-side security architecture for your custom Lighting Web components. It has fewer restrictions and more functionality than Lighting Locker, providing strong and flexible security. For instance, with Lighting Web Security, you'll be able to import components from other namespaces and interact with global objects. We announced Salesforce CLI unification during Trailhead TX. It is now available in beta. The unified CLI enables Salesforce developers to build, test, and deploy across Salesforce from one unified CLI experience. That's all in today's news. Keep trailblazing.
Dreamforce is all about trailblazers. Great connections, wonderful friendships, and lasting memories are created here. Some of our trailblazers have shared their best memories with us. Let's see. Redo it again. Dreamforce is all about trailblazers, great connections, wonderful friendships, and lasting memories are made here. Some of our trailblazers have shared their best memories with us. Let's see. Well, I have a very famous and in fact a celebrity in the APAC region, and you have to guess who that is. She is a basketball player. She is also a basketball coach. She is an amazing tennis player. Most of all, she is a songwriter and a great singer.
Trailhead Live, that's our station. Watch on Trailhead Go, no matter your location.
Have you guessed already? She is none other than Megan Peterson. Hey Megan!
Hi, Natisha. Thanks for having me on Dev Talkies.
Amazing. Thank you for being here.
I feel like I've got to sing right out of the gates, maybe a basketball song. Hit me with your best shot. Come on, hit me with your best shot.
Wow. We can see your basketball skills and your amazing singing skills there. It's amazing to have you here. Thanks a lot again. And Megan, I love gossip. You know what? I heard a lot about your love story with Salesforce, and I want to know all about it from the start till now.
Oh, well, I have been told that I may have the longest career history story that there is. So, strap in. Here comes the story. So how did I get hired at Salesforce? I've been at Salesforce 14 years, so maybe that's why my story is so long.
Wow, 14 years.
Yes. It's a while.
Amazing.
It's a while. I started when I was 10, of course. How did I first learn about Salesforce? So I was actually living over in the US, and I was working for a company that was, an engineering company, not a software company. And they had Salesforce, and they came up to me and said, hey, we've got this thing called Salesforce. Should we keep it or should we get something else? And so I started learning Salesforce and helped that company implement Salesforce, worked with a partner. So that's how I kind of got my introductory skills. And then my resume landed in the APAC region for Salesforce because I was going to be moving back to Australia. And so I did all my interviews while I was actually living in America and got the job and came back to Australia and started. And then they sent me straight back to the US for boot camp. So,
all the way from US to Australia and Australia back to US.
Anyway, I do like going to the US, so that was okay. So when I started, I was in the customer success organization, so CSG, and I was a customer success manager, and I loved that, working with our customers, making them successful with Salesforce. And when I went off and had my first child, about 4 or 5 years into working at Salesforce, I found that it was around the time Chatter came out, and I was going to all the same customers and doing the same presentation over again. And I kind of went, surely there's a smarter way. Why can't I just do this once and they can all listen to me at the same time? So I proposed when I came back from maternity leave that we kind of give me a unique role where we look at scaling programs across the region in APAC as well, because there wasn't a lot happening for the APAC region in our time zone. I'm a big proponent for global time zone love, right? So making sure that we have something in our local time zones. So I started running these webinars, which were just kind of like introductory Salesforce skills, kind of similar to like your Salesforce fundamentals that you find today. And that was successful, working with the Trailblazer community, created an APAC Success Central group that still exists today, talking with our community. And then by the time I came back from my second bout of maternity leave after having my daughter, that was a full team of people working on those scaled programs. So that was pretty cool. So I'd been in CSG for about 8 years at this point, though. And I got the opportunity to do the first admin keynote in the Southern Hemisphere, I think it was. So that was exciting. My first, I'd done presentations, but I hadn't keynoted something yet. So that was kind of my big opportunity on stage. And Jillian, now Bruce, who was Medill back then, she came out and she was getting me all prepped. And in that presentation was something about Trailhead. And I hadn't heard of it yet. It was in its first year at Salesforce, hadn't made its way to Australia yet. And I started engaging with the content and I was like, this is so entertaining, and I was laughing, loving it. And I was like, I need to be on this team. Whoever this team is, I need to work with them. So as luck would have it, so Sarah Franklin was actually leading the admin marketing team at the time, and Adam Seligman was running Trailhead, and he came out to Australia to do the next admin keynote. And so I kind of said, hey, Adam, you need someone in APAC to look after Trailhead. And he said, you should send me a plan. And so I created this like a trailhead badge that was why you should hire Megan Peterson, and turned it into a fun little trailhead badge. I still have it somewhere today. It was pretty cute. And
we want to see that.
It's pretty cute, if I do say so myself. And in that time, Sarah actually, Adam left the business and Sarah took over from Trailhead. So I was then talking with Sarah, like, Sarah, I want to work for Trailhead. And it just came down to a headcount issue. My Trailhead was just coming into market, so all our headcount was going to engineers. And so I kind of came back from Dreamforce, and I talked to Sarah, and she's like, we just need headcount. And so I came back from Dreamforce. I was like, okay, how do I get headcount? I'm going to go to the person running the region and ask them for headcount. I say this out loud, but it sounds really, really confident. And sometimes I can't believe I actually did this myself. But I set up a meeting and asked for advice from some of the direct reports to this person, because I hadn't met with him at the time before. And they were like, from this is great, how can we support you, to, maybe you should look elsewhere, this is a waste of time. I was like, okay. So I had that meeting and it went really well, possibly a right place, right time. And a few months later, I was able to get my headcount and join the Trailhead team. So that was about 5.5 years ago now. And I love being a part of that team, watching it evolve and grow, and getting back to my roots with the Trailblazer community. It's just always been parallel with everything I've done in my career here at Salesforce. And now even as the team kind of evolves into more Trailblazer focus, it's, the community has just always been there and always been so strong, and it's great to be a part of that every day.
Yeah, definitely. And you know what? You have an inspirational story. I was actually looking for a lot of gossip, but this inspired me. Your confidence and you coming into Trailhead, it's an amazing, fun team. This is really, really nice.
I think anyone, if you have passion for something, go for it. Just keep trying.
Definitely. Thanks a lot for that story, Megan. And coming to love for Trailhead and Salesforce, right? And Dreamforce has always been this magical thing. And I have been to one, but you have been to many. And I want to hear a lot about how your experience was at Dreamforce.
Dreamforce has been amazing. I think my first Dreamforce was back when they announced Chatter. So that was probably I don't even know when that was.
How long was it? How long ago was it?
I don't know. Someone out there is screaming down the camera that they know the year that it was, but I don't. Maybe 2014? I don't remember.
No worries.
So I went then and I was blown away by how big it was and just how much it truly takes over San Francisco, and just how many people are there. And it's been like that. I think I've been lucky to go to maybe 6 or 7 Dreamforces now. And it never ceases to. It gets bigger and better every year. Just literally shutting down streets in San Francisco. You get really good at having 5-minute conversations with everybody. It's wonderful because I'm big on Twitter, and you meet people face to face, and you're like, oh my gosh, and Twitter people, and it's so nice. But then you everywhere, everyone's always going somewhere or on their way to something, so you have 5-minute conversations with everybody. And you definitely need some Dreamforce shoes. These are my special custom
Those are so cute.
Dreamforce
Those are
shoes.
really, really cute.
Yeah, so you need some flat, comfy shoes, and they usually need a little bit of swagger to them. But it's just an experience. Like if you can get there once, it's amazing. And I think even, right now we're not allowed to really gather as we usually have, but it's been so amazing to watch how we've adapted and how we're bringing it to everyone digitally on Salesforce Plus. It was such a great experience this year. feeling like I'm watching Netflix and it's my job, it's work, So, and we still bring the fun and the concerts and make it accessible to everybody. And I think that's the power of Dreamforce, bringing everybody in the Trailblazer community together, whether it's in person or online.
Definitely agree with you. Every bit of it for me is magical at Dreamforce, and also, feels like you're walking into a theme park in San Francisco. The entire city is a theme park, though.
Oh, and you've got to find good coffee as well. I've got my go-to coffee place. That's Aussies. You always see Aussies in the line because we need our flat whites.
Oh, nice, amazing. I love coffee too. Thanks for it. Yep, awesome. So that's really nice to know how you feel about Dreamforce, because I feel the same way, and most of us, I think, have that excitement in us when we say Dreamforce, right? But you also have led so many campaigns in the APAC region that are very inspirational, impactful, and useful. So we want to know all about your campaigns and how you're creating this impact.
Wow. Yes, I have been so lucky. Like I said earlier, I'm very passionate because I'm in Sydney, Australia is where I'm based. In terms of, a lot of the teams and programs stem out of headquarters in San Francisco. So I've always been really passionate about how to be, globally minded, and especially about the APAC region, especially. So I got the opportunity actually with COVID to do Trailhead News, which is now new and bigger than ever, and Trailblazer News, if you've seen that latest announcement. And that was, I got to do some content for World Tour right in 2020 at the beginning when this all started. And we thought we'd bring a bit of fun and do it like a news program. And then I was like, well, hey, we're still stuck at home. Why don't I have some fun and try and bring all those messages in a fun video format? And so it was born, and I got to be a news host, and I have so much fun, cracking jokes with my producer, Bruce, in the background, and, bringing all that news to the Trailblazers to help them further their careers and skills and connect with one another. So that's been really, really fun. The other one is an internal program that might not be as well known, which is the Trailblazer Guides. And this is, I go out and I talk to anyone that will listen about being a trailblazer and using Trailhead and getting onto the community. But it got to a point where I was hopping on a plane like every other day, and I did 4 trips to America in a year, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is a lot of travel, and my kids still want me around at the moment. So I thought, surely we've got a lot of talented people here, there's got to be a better way. So I started this program here at Salesforce called Trailblazer Guides. And it's people that can do what I do, talk about being trailblazers and really help empower the next generation of trailblazers. And there's 160 people around the world. So if anyone is watching this and thinking, gosh, I'd love a session in my community or at my company or with a community group, then let me know. I'd love to connect you with a Trailblazer guide.
That's amazing. Wonderful. That's why you're a celebrity. I said it right.
Salesforce famous. Let's say Salesforce famous, maybe.
Yes, Salesforce famous you are. And you've been with Salesforce since a long, long, long time. I'm wondering how many badges you got, Megan.
I have 570 even.
Wow. That's amazing. That's
I practice what I preach. I love trail. I do. I love Trailhead. So
that shows your love.
I do. I love it.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot for being here with us and sharing your amazing story. It was not only inspirational, it was fun, it was exciting, and you have actually quenched my gossip thirst. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Megan.
You're very welcome. Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye. Other than the product announcements we have made, you know what else got a lot of attention? Mark Benioff's shoes. It has its own fan base. Let's look at some tweets. Looking at those shoes was amazing and a lot of fun, and so is Aditya's game show. Over to you, Aditya.
Game begin.
Welcome to the game show segment. I'm your host Aditya, and today we are going to play a game of Match the Columns with our guests Megan and Sudha. Let's welcome them with a huge round of applause. So Megan and Sudha, this game is very simple. All you have to do is match the items in one column to their corresponding pair in another column. And you're going to have 6 themes, and each of these themes is going to have 5 pairs that you need to match. And for that you have 60 seconds. For each pair that you match, you're going to get 10 points. And if there is time remaining, that gets added to your points. You're going to play 3 themes each, and the person with the most number of points towards the end wins the game. Any questions?
No pressure.
Alright.
Exactly, no pressure.
Audience, as usual, play along. The items in column 1 will be marked with numbers, and the items in column 2 will be marked with letters. So put in the combination like 1A, 2B in the chat. This game is also built with Lightning Web Components, and I'll share the source code towards the end. Last but not the least, let me congratulate the winners from audience from last episode's game show. We have Shrikant, Manu and Chirag. And a special round of applause to Shrikant and Manu as they have hit a hat trick. So Megan, because you're first, what is the theme that you want to pick?
Let's go Dreamforce.
Okay, so we are airing 2 weeks after Dreamforce and you're going with Dreamforce. Let's see. Please click on it.
Click.
And what you have to do here is I'm going to show you celebrity names on the left hand side, and you'll have to match them to the year during which they spoke at Dreamforce.
Oh goodness. Okay.
So we have Sir Richard Branson, Michelle Obama, Satya Nadella, Will Smith and Emilia Clarke.
Oh, okay. Oh goodness. Let me think. So I think Richard Branson, I think Richard Branson might have been 2015. Maybe
Okay.
No, hang on. I think, and Michelle Obama was before Obama, and I think he was in 2019. I know Will Smith was this year. I know that much.
Yes.
Emilia Clarke feels like she was not so long ago as well. So maybe I'll go Satya, and then like that.
Okay.
I haven't been to every Dreamforce in person, and often I'm busy working, so I didn't even get to go to these in-person sessions. So, you know, with Dreamforce, it becomes a blur. So close.
You've gotten 3 questions right. So yes, Michelle Obama 2017 and Barack Obama had come in 2019. I still remember the longest queue that I have seen, which was my first Dreamforce actually. It so happens Emilia Clarke also was there, and Will Smith, yes, 2021. So Satya Nadella has come in 2015 and Sir Richard Branson is 2012.
Okay.
So you have 30 points, and Sudha, now it is your turn. Alright, so in here you'll have to match the product's original name with its current rebranded name, for which you have 60 seconds and options on your screen right now. You have Exact Target, Cloud Craze, Steelbrick, Map Anything and Demandware. These are the original names. And I see that you're already matching. So do you want to walk us through your thought process?
I think Exact Target is Marketing Cloud, I'm pretty sure, and Cloud Craze is B2B commerce. Salesforce CPQ, I'm pretty much aware of. It's Steelbrick. And if my memory serves me right, B2C is Demandware, and Salesforce Maps is Map Anything.
All right. Oh my god, you got it right
Wow.
in 30 seconds.
Well
Brings
done.
your total score to 76,
Wow, that's awesome.
which put you
Congrats.
smashingly in the lead.
Yes.
Good.
No pressure. No pressure. Thanks, Sudha. Super fast.
Okay, so Megan, now it's your turn again. Tough score to beat. What's the theme that you want to pick now?
Look, I'm going to go trailhead ranks. I feel like I have to be strong there. Goodness, right?
Yep. Okay, so let's go with Trailhead rank. So here,
Let's.
I'm going to show the rank on the left hand side, and you'll have to match it with the number of badges needed to achieve that rank on the right.
Okay. Well, here
And
we
there you go.
Let me think. So, hiker is definitely 1. Adventure, I think, is 10. Ranger is 100. Hiker is 1. Here we go. Explorer. Yeah, Explorer is 5. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Yes.
Okay.
Drum roll,
If-
please.
Alright, that's perfect. Even you have gotten all of the answers right, which means your score is now 80,
Wow.
which
I mean,
puts
that
you
could
back
have
in the
been
lead.
embarrassing. I mean, that could have been really embarrassing. I'm glad they came out in my favor.
Yeah, I was hoping you would get confused between Explorer and Adventurer, but you got it right.
I have on my little ranger outfit that I wear, I have the badges in order.
Oh.
So I should know.
Okay, so Sudha, now it is your turn again.
Oh my god, all of these are difficult, like really difficult. So let me see. I don't want to break the flow. I'm going to go with governor limits.
Okay, flow it is. So governor limits, okay. So here I'm going to show the limit description on the left, and you'll have to match it with the number on the right. And
Oh
there
my
you go.
god. These look tough.
Yep, maximum number of query cursors, external email addresses per day, batch epics jobs, records retrieved by Sockle, that should be easy, and the number of records returned for batch epics query in query locator.
This is tough.
Okay, you already have 2 right, I can give you that.
Yeah.
Giving hints.
I think I am right with these 3, but I'm not entirely sure. Let me think. I don't have any clue about the query cursors. I'm not
Okay.
really sure. Oh. It's
Okay, you're
over?
out of
Oh my
time.
god. Oh my
And-
god. Okay.
You got 3 correct, you're almost there, you just had to swap the first 2. The number of external email addresses you can send single emails to is 5,000 per day, and the
Okay.
query cursors is 50. Okay, so now Megan, it is your turn, and you're going to decide the score against which Sudha competes for the winning position. There are only 2 left, super badges or SMTX commands. Which one are you going to choose?
Look, I've done a few super badges, so I'm going to go super badges.
Okay, but it's tricky here. You'll have to match the super badge with the number of points you get by attaining that super badge.
Well, warn me next time before I choose the category.
Sure.
Okay, I don't want to get caught out on the time. Let me think. So now I've done 3. Business admin specialist was one of the ones I did. So I'm
Okay.
pretty sure that's 5. Because I thought it was 5,000 for a super badge. So I'm going to go, I'll put that down there, but I know it's going to shift. Apex feels like it's going to be high.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know, I'll put 16 up there. Automation specialist, I think that could be...
I'll give you a
Yeah,
hint.
Yeah, yes.
Apex specialist was the super badge with the highest number of points. It is not anymore.
Ooh, hang on. Okay, so let's do that.
Yep. Okay.
That was, like that. Got 9 seconds left. I'm under time pressure. This adds to my pressure. Okay. Lock it in. Lock it in.
Wow.
Ooh,
Okay.
wow.
With 2 seconds left, you have 52 points, which brings your score to 162. Which means, Sudha, you have to get at least 58 points, which means you have to get all the answers right with at least 8 seconds remaining on the clock.
What did you put me up to, Megan?
And you're only left with one more theme, which is SFDX commands. So you have no other option.
One.
So in here, you'll have to match the parameter names of the 4 source deploy command with what they do.
Let's see. Username should be this, that I'm pretty much sure. Ignore deploy errors. I think this one is correct. Comma separated. To deploy. Oh, I have not clue about the last 2 ones.
Okay.
Is containing the deployment
Do it.
test.
Quick.
All right, I'm just doing
Okay,
it.
okay.
Oh my God.
You didn't let me finish. I was about to say please think again, but you have gone ahead and submitted it.
Oh my God.
Which brings your points to 136, just 30 points behind Megan, which makes Megan the winner of this game show.
Hey.
Audience, I hope you've enjoyed the game show as well. Here is a link to the source code of this game. Do check it out, and I'll see you next month with a brand new game show.
One of my favorite features in Winter 22 release is expose events in the Lightning App Builder. Yes, as part of dynamic interactions, you can define the events for the Lightning pages and expose those events in the Lightning App Builder. The administrators can configure and set up interactions between the components. Are you eager to learn how to do that? Let's dive in. We can establish communication between Lightning Web components using Lightning Message Service. Let's check an example in LWC recipes. Here in this Message Services tab, an LMS Publisher web component has a list of contacts. When we select a contact, it publishes an event received by the components already subscribed for the event. When I select a contact, you can see that the subscribed components display the contact information. With Winter 22, with dynamic interactions, an administrator can now configure the target Lightning Web components that can receive the event. Let's see how. Here, I have a data table and a contact info component. When I select a contact, nothing happens. As an administrator, let's configure it. I have defined a custom event for this data table component and exposed it for the Lightning App Builder. That's why you see a new interactions tab in the properties. We'll look at the code shortly. Now, as an administrator, I can choose a target component that can receive the event. Let's go to the interactions tab and add an interaction. Select the target component. In this case, I can select the contact info. This component has exposed public property. We can set this property with the property value received through the event. That's it. If you want, you can add one more component which can also take this event. You can do this by adding one more interaction. Let's save it and see how it works. I'll select a contact now and you can see the contact info in the target component. Great. Let's look at the code. Here I have defined a custom event, set the selected row's record ID in the detail and dispatch the event. I just need to do one more configuration to expose it to Lightning App Builder. In the metadata file, define a target config for the page and add an event tag to it. You can give the name, label and description for the event. Add a schema tag to the event which includes the record ID as defined in the .js file. Let's now also look at one of the target components. The only thing that I have done is define the public property to map and use the values from the event. And you can see that I have used the property here in my component. So the tip is that you can use dynamic interactions to define the events easily and allow administrators to configure events and build interactive pages. Would you please let us know if you like the tip? And also let us know if you want a specific tip in the comment section. Thanks for watching the tip.
For the past 18 years, Dreamforce has transformed from a conference to an experience like no other. From inspiring keynote sessions, visionary thinking and the future of technology, to actually creating an impact and changing the world, which is not only empowering and inspirational, but also carving a direction to be inclusive, innovative, and responsible at the same time. Dreamforce and our Trailblazers have evolved together in learning, creating an impact, having fun together, most importantly, leaving a trail, a magic that never ends.